People who have won or win a date with a celebrity competition. How was it? I don't know if this quite counts, but in 6th grade I won a science competition called Essay Mission and my group got a trip to DC. Our group's mentor was Arthur Fry, the guy who invented the post-it note. I was ducking thrilled and chatted with him non-stop the entire trip, and he couldn't have been more happy about having a bunch of kids hanging on to his every word about science. Flash forward 10 years and I got started as a reporter covering the Patent and Trademark Office in Alexandria. I'm at a gala there for inventors and I ran into Arthur Fry. It's been 10 years, so there's no way he remembers us. But I come up to him anyway and start talking about Essay Mission. Not only does he remember us, he remembers the project we presented. I was so thrilled. When I was 12 I won a contest to play video games with Linkin Park before a concert of theirs. There were these video game buses set up at the venue that I was asked to wait outside of while security brought the band out. The band ended up only being Rob, the drummer, and my brother-in-law, and I just stood outside the bus and talked to him for like 10 minutes before he left. I won an auction for a date with a seagull. I was, still am, married, but I was a big fan of her chosen charity. Met her backstage after the auction with my wife in tow who was adamant that I go on this date. She thought it was hilarious. Talked to the very nice cheerleader and we all had a good laugh at the awkwardness while agreeing to go to the Evergreen Aviation Museum since I love aviation, and have dinner. Turned out to be a very fun day. She was very interested in the planes and history and I was more than happy to spew nerd knowledge about all the displays. Had a wonderful dinner with lots of small talk and laughs before calling it a night. We kept in touch. She got married, had kids, and our families try to visit one another 1-2 times a year. They're our best friends. So, I'd say it worked out really well. Edit. Added a link to what a seagull is. Edit 2. Since my username seems to be a popular topic. Creep was my military calcin. It's chosen for you and usually for doing something stupid. I had this happen once quite by accident. It was in 1987 and I was hanging out with a friend at her place. We were listening to the radio and the DJ came on saying he had tickets to a concert. I called and damned if I didn't win. The concert was the next weekend. They said they were doing a remote out of the Hard Rock Cafe that day and that I could come get the tickets there. Okay, cool, we'll get the tickets, grab lunch and then kill some time till the concert starts. We head down there at the appointed time. Go in, tell them why we are there and they lead us off to a side dining room and sit us down. They say we get lunch too and hand us a menu. As we are ordering, other people come and sit down at the table with us. They look like typical 80s headbangers. Then I realize they have British accents. I do a double take and think, damn, that guy looks like Joe Elliott. I glance around the table and seeing Rick Allen. Confirmed it. I'm sitting at a table with Ducking Def Leppard. They were pleasant, although really tired, maybe hungover. They didn't act aloof or like they were being taxed by doing it and were actively conversing with a couple of starstruck teenagers. Overall, it was pretty cool. They gave us vinyl albums and autographed them. Gave us shirts and all sorts of other stuff. Definitely a good memory. Overall, it was a great experience. I won a contest with my brother to spend the day in LA with Donald Faison. Personally, Scrubs was one of my favorite shows, so I was beyond excited to go. Donald was super cool. He even let my brother and I do the Eagle. Additionally, because it was the last taping of the season for his show The X's, he took us to an after party and we spent time with Wayne Knight, Newman from Seinfeld. While they were taping, I got a VIP pass and Donald told everyone that basically I could do what I wanted, which included walking behind set, meeting the cast and crew's family, and eating the food behind the set. It was one of the coolest experiences ever. Donald was an amazing host, a real down-to-earth guy and a genuine person. My only regret is that we didn't stay longer. Back when the Spice Girls were big in the early 2000s, they were in town for a concert. A local radio station was doing a contest where you call in to win breakfast with the Spice Girls. I was a young teenage boy back then, who was at home sick from school that day. So for its and giggles I decided to call to try to win. I ended up winning. The radio station asks me my address and says the tour bus will be in front of my house in an hour. I am nervous as it because the Spice Girls were about to be at my house. And I'm just here all alone. Mind you, I am the shyest person you will ever meet. And a tour bus full of the hottest girl band on the scene was about to be at my house. So the bus finally arrives. Only it wasn't really the Spice Girls. It was 4 old ladies who called themselves the Spice Girls, who were cooks. They ended up making scrambled eggs, pancakes, and toast for me on the tailgate of their bus. It was the strangest, weirdest, most awkward thing ever, and no one but me was there to witness it. I won a contest when I was younger, like 14, to fly to New York and meet Mark Echo. I was this skinny Midwest white girl meeting a clothing designer for street, urban styles. I mean, me and my dad looked so out of place, but he was the chillest dude. He showed us around the office, gave us food, let us sign some skateboards and walls. He had me do a photo shoot in his kids line. We even went shopping in Manhattan with him and he bought me like $500 worth of brand name clothes. When we were out shopping he had a photographer with us and a personal shopper. People on the street were like, who is she? Because they thought I was famous. Lol. He was the chillest dude and didn't mind at all that we were there. He was doing a collaboration with 50 Cent and let me meet him and take a photo. It was such a weird experience and the only reason I won was because my dad entered tons of random contests and won a lot. But this was definitely the biggest he ever won. I love getting to tell people I've met 50 Cent. They never believe me. I was friends with a girl and her brother when I was younger. Their mom suddenly died of cancer while they were still young. A short story contest came up at school that was nationwide and the prize was to visit the Harry Potter set in Europe and meet J.K. Rowling herself, along with some cast members. The prompt was something along the lines of, if anything from the wizarding world of Harry Potter could come true, what would you like it to be and why? To cope with the pain of her mother passing, my friend ended up writing an essay on how she would like a potion that could bring her mom back or just be able to see her and speak to her again. Weeks passed and she got the news that she, out of thousands of entries, won the contest. She got everything they said she would win, the tour and meet and greets. I remember showing us pictures when she got back of the whole experience and how truly kind everybody was. Only moderately related, but fun nonetheless. A friend of mine came to DC for Obama's inauguration in 09. He's standing outside and looks around just before it starts, and notices the guy next to him is Edward Norton. He doesn't say anything because he didn't want to be that guy who ruined the experience for him. But a few seconds later some other people start screaming and making a scene. At this point my friend has stepped over and he just busts a grin and says something like, "Yo, Ron, you got a couple more idiots thinking you're that actor." The fans hushed thinking he was a doppelganger, and my friend got to hang out with Norton after that. I won one of those ride with a professional snowboarder contests off of the website CCS. I had no idea that people won those things for real, so I was pretty stoked. Apparently I was one of about a couple thousand that entered to win the contest. I was able to take a friend, so I brought my cousin with me to fly out to Los Angeles to go snowboarding. We landed at LAX and one of the reps picked us up from the airport. He took us all the way to a place called MT High Resort, which was just a ghetto ski slope full of man-made snow. Not gonna lie, I loved its scatterpark feel. The professional snowboarder that I got to ride with was named Stevie Bell. He was a class act. Totally genuine dude. Didn't feel like he was forcing himself to be nice. Just felt like it was hanging out with one of the homies. 10/10 would do it again. Got to meet some cast from Back to the Future on the 25th anniversary tour thanks to winning a radio contest. Christopher Lloyd didn't seem like himself due to illness, unfortunately, but Lee Thompson is an absolute sweetheart in person. Fairly low on the celebrity totem pole, but when I was in Little League, I won an opportunity to have lunch with one of the ball players for the farm team for the local MLB club. I was sorta put on the spot, and I think 9 or 10, for picking the actual player. So I picked more or less at random based on the only guy whose name I can remember. Think he played second base or shortstop. Not important. Anyway, the lunch itself, from what I can recall, the lunch was pretty pleasant. Not any of the awkwardness that those sort of situations may lead to. But then again, I was 9, so who knows. The part that was most special to me came afterwards. I went to a number of home games for that minor league team throughout that season, and we usually had bleacher tickets near their dugout. Every time he was playing, he'd always spot me, come over and say hi, give me a signed ball, that sort of thing. It was pretty neat that it wasn't some sort of one and done oh god contractual obligations kind of things. Or at least it didn't feel that way. Never went terribly far with baseball, but I think that experience was one of the reasons I still have an abiding affection for the sport and love watching my local team. Not a date as such, more a phone call. I saw on the singer Hosier's Twitter he was doing a ring this number and I'll answer. Saw some people tried literally 100s of times. So I thought why not. Got through first time. Conversation lasted a minute. Spent half the time asking if it was really him, then just said so. How's things? Briefly answered me, then hung up. Edit. A link to the screenshot. Not me, but a friend of mine won a similar competition. When we were in university, Brody Jenner was big for some reason, and my buddy was a bit of a class clown. Smart enough guy, but just has a great sense of humor. He decides he wants to win this competition, so he gets a big following behind him. The crux of the whole situation was that this competition was a vote to win format. Naturally, everyone voted for him, but in the end, Brody refused because my buddy was a dude. Fortunately, the campus bar felt bad about the situation and hooked us up with some free booze for the night. When I was about 17 back in 2003, I won some meet and greet passes to a Thrice, Thursday, and Coheed and Cambria concert. All the dudes in Thrice and Thursday were super cool, just walking around having conversations and stuff. I had done a meet and greet before, but it was more like, hey, how's it going? I'll sign something for you, then be on your way. ZZ Top was like this. Really nice dudes, but they seemed like they had no interest in meeting or greeting. But this was way different and more personal. Anyways, the best moment was after the show. My ride bailed on me, so I am just sitting outside the venue and I realize that I am sitting next to the then bassist for Coheed. He's swigging some Captain and Coke out of a 2-liter bottle and chatting it up on the phone to his girlfriend. A bum on a bike rolls around and asks if anyone wants to buy his bike for 20 bucks. The bassist asks if he could take it for a spin first, and in the process hands the phone and the drink to me and says keep her company. I'll be right back. So here I am, talking to this dude's girlfriend and swigging his rum while he's cruising around on this bum's bike making Ric Flair WOOO sounds. He ended up buying the bike and throwing it in the back of the tour van. When he came back, he took the phone back and told his girlfriend I'll call you later, and then started to chat me up. We got pretty well lit for what seemed like forever. Probably about an hour and a half, until the new ride I called earlier finally came to pick me up. It was a pretty good time. TLDR, I bailed after a concert. Got drunk with Coheed and Cambria bassist while he bought a $20 bike off a bum. I met Linkin Park at a meet and greet. They didn't do photos individually, and if you asked for more than one thing to be signed, security, threatened to kick you out. I was so sad at first. They also were just signing names, no messages. I had only won one backstage and it was in my name, but my friend told me that their songs got him through a teen pregnancy and helped him out a lot. I couldn't really identify with that, and I guess still can't. When I'm depressed, music doesn't fix it. But anyways, Mike came over to me when it was my turn and I politely asked for a moment of his time and told him about my friend waiting for me in the audience and if he could sign one thing for him. Mike wrote him a very nice and personalized note and was so sweet about it. My friend broke down in tears when I gave it to him. Can't thank them enough. Spinal Tap. Back in the 80s in Detroit, I won an invite, via a radio station contest, to a small private concert with Spinal Tap. They never broke character, performed every single song from the movie, and were absolutely amazing musicians. To this day I would count it as one of the most fun nights of my life.